What's up? It's your boy back at it again with another video. I was gonna save this video for another day in a couple days, but I was just watching a competition with this man, Ivan Tikhon, and I just had to make a video because I think he's criminally underrated. And I think he still has a top 10 mark at 84 mid, I think, meters. And I think a lot of people discredit him because he got popped and banned pretty much for life from hammer throw. But before that, he dominated the mid 2000s. I mean, I think he was a 3-time world champ, multiple time Olympian. I think a 1-time Olympic medalist in 2008. I think he got bronze with Primoz Cosmos winning and W. Toski getting silver, I think. But he's, I think, still holds the. Yeah, they didn't take away his championship record from 2005 Helsinki World Champs, which I think is 83 high. I'll link it. I mean, I won't link it, but I'll put it in the video description along with his PR and his height and weight and notable accomplishments and stuff like that. But they took away some of his medals. But one of the reasons I think he's really underrated is because he was on the Belarusian Olympic Committee, and I don't know how he did this, but he managed to lift his ban, and at like age 40 plus, I don't know exactly the age, he won the silver medal in the Olympics in 2016. After he got popped in 2008. So from 2008 to 2016, he didn't really compete. Not to mention in 2016, he threw over 80 meters again at 40 years old. That is actually insane. I don't care if he was on drugs or not. That is actually insane stuff. And they took away this mark, but he did have a throw that's very controversial. I personally think he did it because I just want to believe it. That it was a throw a centimeter under the world record. And he was also coached by I guess the second furthest thrower ever, Sergey Litvinov. And, yeah, I think he's very criminally underrated. And I think a lot of people discredit him because he was on drugs, even though I guarantee you most of the top 25 people in history in any throwing event has taken drugs, especially if they were from the 80s. I guarantee you Litvinov, any Soviet or East German person on roids. Not that I care, because I personally don't. I mean, I just want to see people throw far. But that's a whole different topic for another day. But yeah, I don't really give a shit, because you still have to have good technique even if you take steroids, and you still have to be a committed, dedicated athlete. Okay? I don't really care if you take stuff. You know, my favorite weightlifter ever is Ilya Ilin. And he got famously popped. But yeah, I don't really care, honestly. Fight me. I don't care. So, we're going to go over his throw real quick. Nice winds. Now, he has kind of unique technique. I'm going to be quite honest. Because this is a training throw, so this isn't a comp throw. But his comp throw and training throw, pretty similar technique. One, he has a pretty high point on his first turn. And he's not that far back. Like, he's countering, just enough. So he counters. And then on his third turn, he really just gets back. And really just hits the hell out of it. Oh, sorry, I forgot to play this in full speed. You'll get what I'm saying if I play this in full speed. Bum, bum. And then just crazy acceleration through 3 and 4. Like, he goes kind of easy 1, 2. And usually people just have a nice easy 1. And then and then 2 they hit it, but 3 he just cranks the hell out of it. It's actually insane. So he kind of has a similar orbit, I'd say, to Koji in a lot of ways, because Koji also has a pretty high height point, although I think his is probably a little Koji's was a little higher than Tikhon's. All right, really like the patience. Always going to 90 before picking up that right foot. Picking it up a little. I'm starting to notice a lot that a lot of these like 83 plus meter guys kind of like to pick up their right foot kind of early and have the hammer with their right knee. But it's weird because when they do drills and stuff at very low speeds, like there's a really good video of Ivan Tikhon on YouTube of just warming up, and he just turns all the way and just stay grounded the entire time. So it's interesting to me. I mean, I get why they do that. Because I mean, I feel like this kind of style, if you can handle these forces, are really good. And equate to further throws. I mean, he is doing the bare minimum. Like, he is staying grounded until 90. Or just a little before 90. So, he is doing that. I mean, that's the minimum. You have to be grounded until 90. And 3, he kind of picked up a little early. Oh, sorry, I mean 4. Oops. Let me go back. So 1 and 2, nice to 90, and 3 was good. 4 picked up early. So again, this is a training throw, and I just picked a training throw because I think training throws for all professional athletes are more interesting. I like watching professional athletes train more than actual comp, because I like to see what they do to correct mistakes that they make, and what they're working on, and see if I can figure out if they don't say it. And I think it's just interesting to see how they train more than they compete. Well, I mean, like how they throw in comp. Although you can learn a lot from that too. But there isn't, I mean, really too much to say. I mean, he's one of the best hammer throwers ever. I mean, there's not really too much wrong with what he does, to be completely honest. I mean, these are just textbook positions. I mean, I don't even know what to even say, honestly. I'm just trying to find something, I guess. Shoot, I don't know. I can't really find anything really that wrong in this throw. If anything, I would personally like him to stay a little more grounded. But I don't really care, because like the style where you keep it in line with your right knee, you kind of do need to pick up kind of early, or else your orbit will shift a little and your high point will start shifting over here instead of here. So I'm starting to feel like this is a really popular style with people that are like 83 plus. I ain't even about to lie. But I also noticed that all of them also stay grounded when they're really slow. Like when they're just doing drills. So I find that pretty interesting, because I'm assuming, well, I know, talking to some coaches, that when you start throwing like 70 plus meters, when the ball's moving that fast, it's so hard to just stay grounded that you kind of just hold on for dear life and just see what happens, honestly, with your technique. But also, when you're in a meet and stuff, and like you nitpick technique, when you're in a meet and stuff, and this is, I think, a training, I think this is a pre-meet in 2006 before a meet, so he's not really thinking. And a lot of throwers at this kind of level, or any competent thrower, really doesn't think about technique that much. They just go out and throw because they don't need to. A person of his level does not need to think about technique, honestly, if I'm being quite real. Unless something major is going wrong in their training, like in their practice, they're not really thinking. They're just getting reps in because they don't need to think because it's all muscle memory at that point. So, like, yeah, I could really just nitpick stuff and whatnot and do all that. But, I mean, he stays grounded pretty well up until 4. Like, there isn't really too much to say. Unless I'm tripping, because let's see. 1 stays grounded well. 2 stays grounded well. Let's see. 3 stays grounded. Oh, there is actually something I wanted to say. You'll notice that when he pushes the hammer, his left knee does not turn ahead of the hammer. It stays behind the hammer, and I think that's a very good thing. That a lot of hammer throwers try and turn with the ball, like a lot of beginners and stuff, and they try and turn like they would out the back and like shot and disc, like really turn that left foot ahead of the upper body. And that's a mistake in hammer. In hammer, the upper body goes and then the lower body goes. The hammer basically turns you and is very contradictory to shot and disc. So it's really the only throwing event where you would hear a coach even say that the hammer moves you. But you'll notice that there's a point where he stays, where his legs don't really move. And for him, it's like a split second. But I think you may be able to see it at this speed. Like, you'll notice that the ball is moving faster than him. And that's the main objective in all throwing events, but you could really see it more in hammer, is that you want the hammer to move faster than you. And if you are moving faster than the hammer, there's no force being applied to the hammer. It's all staying in you. So that's a main takeaway. And another thing we can learn from Ivan Tikhon is how to accelerate a damn hammer. Because, my God, like, his 3 and 4 is crazy. Like, he really just accelerates the hell out of that. And he's so perfectly balanced. And you'll notice when he goes, a lot of his weight is over his right foot. And he does that. That's a good thing. You want it, and it's okay to step like that. After it leaves your hand, it doesn't, and that's this for all events. After it leaves your hand, it really doesn't matter what you do because you're not throwing anymore. So, but it can tell a lot. You can tell a lot by the direction that you reverse, or I guess this is a kind of reverse and hammer. Not really. This is just a release. But yeah, you'll see a lot of hammer throwers do this. You'll see them stick it. If you ever see a hammer thrower go that way, if they're right-handed, that is not a good sign. That means they got pulled forward and lost their counter. And that's not a good thing because, for obvious reasons, because, you need a counter to throw far. But I mean, obviously he has a supremely good counter because he's an 84-meter guy, so, and a championship record that I don't think is going to be beaten anytime soon, if I'm going to be quite real. Not to mention, fun fact, the championship record came in the rain. He threw it in the rain, which was crazy. Not to mention, he had only, I think, one throw under 80 meters. He had a foul, and then I think a 70... No, actually, he had 2 fouls. And then the third round, he had an 80-meter throw, and then an 81, and then an 83, and then an 83, I think. I could be wrong. And then Vadim Debutovsky, his countryman, broke the championship record in that same comp before Tikhon did it. And he threw like 82. Like, it was a crazy competition in the rain. And those two were just, it's the full, like, the actual comp is actually on YouTube. If you just type in 2005 hammer throw, it's, I think, the first thing that pops up, and it's just one of my favorite competitions to watch in throwing. It's so great to see, like, them just every throw just beating their records, or just, it's just crazy. But yeah, yeah, I just think he's honestly a top 3 hammer thrower, like a top 5 hammer thrower for me personally, just because, like, the level of dominance he had, it was crazy. I mean, yeah, I will say he kind of choked in 2004 Olympics, but we're not here to talk about that. Well, see you later, and I hope you guys learned something. See y'all later.